Welcome in, everyone. Sorry, it was taking me just a moment to get myself organised here. I had to make sure I had my blanket wrapped around me. It seems to have become a thing now when I go live. Obviously, it won't be a winter thing, but right now it is. Before I jump into talking about Mackenzie, I do want to give you some updates on Parker. Still looking for him, unfortunately, which is always a concern. But first of all, welcome in Princess Pillow, welcome in Teresa, welcome in BTTV, welcome in everyone else who's here that I can't see right now. Welcome in Rita, and I should probably say welcome in Camilla, even though if you are here, I can't see you. So for anyone who might not have caught my lives over the last couple of days, we have a autistic 11-year-old boy who is missing from Calgary in the Thorn, oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the location now. Excuse my Thorncliffe area. Wow. That's pretty fascinating. You did a deep dive into Natalie Shirilla's family, as you do. 1893, a boy in her family was kidnapped. The couple took him to Ohio from California, changed his name, and pretended to be his parents. That's pretty cool. Oh, is that for real? They made him perform in carnivals and circus side shows for the remainder of his childhood. He learned carny talk as a way to discuss carnival business in front of customers. Seriously, is that and that's a verified source? That's pretty fascinating. That is very fascinating. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it certainly sounds like he would have introduced carny talk to the family. That is fascinating. Oh my gosh, that is so fascinating. That is so cool. Okay, so update on Parker. So he's nonverbal. He's been missing now since Thursday. Oh, that is super cool. That is super cool. Are you able to send me links and stuff for that? Or, just head me in the right direction? Because I would love to look into that. That is mega, mega cool. Okay, so Parker's been missing since Thursday. They've got one more webcam for him. I'm just going to show the first one that was put out yesterday. So this one I've zoomed in. I think the first time round is how it was released. Then the second time round, I've zoomed it in so you can get a closer look, and you can see that he's wearing his noise-cancelling headphones. So, he's not in a huge hurry. He's doing that very autistic thing of stopping for the manhole because clearly there was an issue with that, which is so adorable. Anyone who knows children with autism know exactly what I'm talking about. It just makes him even more adorable and makes it even more concerning that he's still out there and hasn't been found. So the new footage is not overly good because it's from a side street. But you can sort of see him heading down the road a bit. I've slowed it down the second time round. He's in no hurry. You wouldn't even notice him probably because, it was, someone told me it was 33 degrees that day. So it was hot. So you probably wouldn't think twice about a young boy walking down the road, 33 degrees heat, not wearing a top. And just a quick news story because it gives us an update on the location.
Good afternoon. The search for a missing 11-year-old Calgary boy continues. Police and search teams are focusing on several northwest and northeast communities and asking for the public's help to find Parker. Mason DePatie has more details.
This is the last known location of Parker Wells. A security camera captured the 11-year-old walking down the street here on Travis Crescent Northeast just after 12:50 Thursday afternoon. More than 4 days later, hundreds of police officers and volunteers are still trying to piece together where he went next. The 11-year-old is autistic and nonverbal, and police say he might not respond if someone calls his name. Police have been playing familiar Disney songs through their loudspeakers, hoping it may attract Parker's attention or encourage him to come out of hiding. More than 300 police officers have taken part in the search so far, along with RCMP members and more than 100 Search and Rescue Alberta volunteers. Crews have been searching several communities around Nose Hill Park, while investigators review more than 50 hours of CCTV, residential security and dashcam video. Police are asking Calgarians, even outside of the search area, to check their yards, sheds, garages, vehicles, and any other spaces where a child could hide. They note he does like to lock doors behind him. Parker was last seen without a shirt on, wearing gray shorts and possibly black noise-canceling headphones. If you do spot the child, you're told to contact police immediately and keep him in sight, but do not approach. Back to you.
Oh, sorry, that's my cue. It is so concerning. I'm still concerned that they've got so many searchers out and about, because they're going to struggle. If they're wandering around in groups, he's not going to come out. And it may be that he's just going to hunker down. If he keeps seeing people all over the place, he's going to hunker down. If he's hidden really well, could make him really hard to find. But I'm also concerned. I mean, the plus side is there's no footage of anything like that, but I'm also concerned about a Michael Vaughan sort of situation, a crime of opportunity if someone saw him and picked him up. But there's no suggestion of that. There's no evidence of that. So fingers crossed. They've done a poster now for him. So that's now out there for the whole world. Just giving his details, where he was last seen, or what he was last seen wearing, which is his grey shorts and his black Skechers and noise-cancelling headphones. Now, I read an article. One of the articles I read said that the water's quite fierce right now around the river, or what it is. Like, sounds like they've had a bit of rain. So we're talking, fast-moving waterways and stuff like that. If he got into the river or creek or whatever it is, it's possible he could have been washed well out of the area, which is a scary thought. I hate thinking about it. The map that I showed, I had to share this. This is beautiful. I did have to blur out the face because I'm not putting someone else's son up here. But this is just adorable. This person posted this in the Facebook group. My autistic son, who's been helping look for Parker, drew a map of where he thinks he is. So many thoughts from the whole city and beyond with Parker and his family. So I'm sure the map makes sense to him. There's a lot of people in there. But that's adorable. That's so adorable. Okay, so in terms of the map, this is the search map. So I will zoom in just a sec. I just wanted to zoom out first for you to get an idea of just how much area has been covered. So you've got green has been searched in the last 6 hours as of about half an hour ago. That mustard colour, 6 to 24 hours, and then the grey over 24 hours. Now, I got one of the locations wrong. I don't know if I got it wrong off the news article or if I got it wrong putting it into Google Earth. But I will show you that in just a moment. I'll just zoom in first. So, zoom out. Okay, I thought that was the zoomed in version. The zoomed out version shows you just how much area they've covered, so you can see a lot of the mustardy kind of areas further out. I really hope there's going to be an answer for that. If he's in a day home, and I haven't looked it up yet, I haven't looked into it, but how did he just walk off? I mean, were they... I just can't fathom it, because if you are operating a day home, then you should be able to cater for all children who come. And it's not uncommon for a child with autism to have a meltdown over something and want to head for the hills. And, you know, it could have been just a teeny tiny trigger. So I can't fathom it either. I certainly hope they're going to be making changes to make sure that sort of doesn't happen again. Okay, where are we? Okay, so now I've got the map location. So the purple is where he was, and they're saying on there it's not the exact location. So here's what is disturbing for me. Right. A day home in Alberta is a childcare service provided in an in-home based setting by a family day home educator who can care for up to 6 children, not including their own. So it's family daycare, essentially, but with the education thrown in. Well, somebody needs to lose their license, because the thing that disturbs me is he was last seen between 11:08 and 11:41 a.m. What do they mean by that? Does that mean that he was unsupervised for half an hour? Like, you have a boy with ASD, he's high needs, he's nonverbal. Any child that has ASD is going to have things that will trigger them, will cause them distress, and may cause a reaction. So I don't understand why we've got this broad time frame of last seen between 11:08 and 11:41. That in itself is concerning, because they should know exactly when they last saw him. Welcome to people who are coming in. Okay, so moving on to this one. This is the newly released CCTV footage. So he made decent timing. Given that this is roughly 4 kilometers from the day home, obviously he had to have left the day home way before. Hang on, no, what's this one? Newly released CCTV footage shows him at approximately 12:47. So that's about an hour later. So it's possible. It's possible. Good to see you, Deborah. Looks like we've got people in different chats today, so possibly a few people aren't going to see each other, but I have put it back up on the screen. Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, this is the first sighting that was put out, the one that where you can see it zoomed in, and then the next one is the one that I had wrong. So I had that near the location of the day home. I don't know how I got that wrong, but it is in the same circle as the other two camera sightings. I hope that means he's somewhere in that vicinity, but the fact that he covered that much ground in so little time, he could have gone anywhere. Okay, moving on. I think that's all I've got for those. So they've extended the search area. They've broadened it out because obviously he's mobile. He could have gone anywhere in the space of 3 days. I think that's it. Yep. Okay, I'll pull that from the stage. So that's all we've got for now with Parker. I'm just so desperately hoping that they find him. Someone was saying there's an area there that is shut off at the moment because they've brought in have a look at Travis Can't. Travis Can't. I'll jot that down. I hate when autocorrect fix things. I will definitely have a look at that. And welcome in, Mike. Sorry. I believe they have used scent dogs. They've used helicopters. They've used drones. They've had, I think the last update I was looking at, they'd had several hundred searchers out there. They've had the police cars out there pumping out Disney music. They're pulling out all the stops. My concern is that they're telling people to search in groups. And that's great, except that if he's there, and he's like, starting to get hungry, starting to get thirsty, he's not going to come out if there are constantly people around. And that's my big concern, is that you've got so many people out searching all the time that if he is hunkered down somewhere, he's not coming out. That's what I think. I was saying yesterday that obviously it's urgent to find him, but I think maybe they need to rethink this particular search and have downtime. Have, I don't know, maybe 4 hours, morning and evening or something, or, a period of several hours where they say, right, we want everyone off the streets. We want to stop the search for 4 hours because Crescent. Thanks, Mike. Okay, I will check that one out. I just think he's not coming out. He is not coming out while there are helicopters, drones, groups of people. And while it might seem counterproductive to say, okay, between 2 and 6 p.m. we want people off the streets. Well, they think that he won't respond necessarily to people calling his name. That's the thing. I was horrified when I was looking at the last press conference, I think it was, and they were talking about, if people are wanting to help, make sure that you join a group. And I was horrified. I was like, no, people should not be out in groups. Obviously, wherever he is, if he's hidden somewhere, he's hidden himself pretty damn well. We're talking about a 10-year-old boy who, the sort of spaces that a 10-year-old boy could get into, he doesn't need a lot of room. So if he's hunkered down, he's not coming out till he's ready. And he's not going to be ready while there's people everywhere, like groups of people. He will, they've made it very clear from the get-go that he's nervous around people. Yeah, they've been kind of vague on that. They really have. They have said at least, don't approach him and keep your distance. Oh, nice one, Amira. Sorry. Oh, God. Honestly, when you go live and you've got dogs in the house, she drank her water too quickly, clearly. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, distracted by a dog. Yeah, they haven't given... telling people just, keep him in sight, but don't get too close. That's about all they've said. And welcoming Kenneth Russell. They've given some... They finally came out in the second press conference and pointed out that, a rather slight 11-year-old boy can fit into spaces that you could not imagine, which I think should have been said from the get-go. They've said that he has a tendency to lock things behind him. So if he's gone into someone's garage or shed or something, it's possible he's gone in and locked it behind him. Yes, and that's not been mentioned because that's going to stress him out even more. People with ASD really, really struggle with making eye contact with people. Any loud noises. We're looking at a boy who is high level in terms of the ASD. You saw that first bit of footage where he got to the manhole and he had to stop and check it out. Those noise-cancelling headphones are possibly the thickest headphones I've seen. So he does have some major sensory issues. And I just think... I don't think the public's been given enough understanding of what Parker's world is like. Yeah, and I noticed when I looked at the map, there's actually a lot of grey spots on the map that still haven't been searched. I wish I had got a zoomed-in version to show you, but there's a lot of areas that show grey that haven't been searched. And, people might have searched an area and just presumed that, oh, he couldn't have got in behind that because that's too tight, which is not the right mindset. I mean, he could be hidden anywhere, and it's been warm. It's been several days. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be thirsty. I hope that they've got people just sort of, I hate saying staking out, but it kind of seems the best description. I hope they've got people staking out the river. Just, people spaced along the river that have got a view of the river and can then see the next person further up. Street view, Travis Crescent Northeast is interesting. Let me see. Oh, I don't think I can. I don't trust myself to try and get onto Google Earth. That could just go badly. Yeah, I'm not feeling confident in my abilities right now to jump screens and search for the street view. Is Travis Crescent the first place? It's. I'm just so concerned about this little fella. The first thing I did this morning was check, and I'm not talking about before I got up. I'm talking about the moment I woke up, I got on my phone to see if there was any updates. So, fingers crossed. We can only just keep praying, I guess. I mean, what more can you do? Oh, the latest CCTV sighting, this one. Now, I hope they've tried to track down the driver of that white vehicle to see the other one. I just noticed that white vehicle was only just pulling into the space. So they... Now, I haven't got the actual time frame on it because I zoomed in. But I just noticed with that other one, the car was just reversing into its spot. So I hope they've actually contacted the driver to see if they saw him go any further. This one with the basketball hoop. Yeah, I'll play it again. I think... Yeah, I think for me, him in that manhole, that's so adorable. Oh, and he went around it. He actually went sideways and went around it. Yeah, the white driver might have seen him. Oh, well. There's a house a few doors down blanked out with a pool. Wow. I hope that they have got everybody with pools checking their areas and things. I get so concerned when I see a high needs child like this who really, really just needs needs to be looked after, and like it just frightens me that there's so many people out searching in big groups when he is probably really hungry and really thirsty, because he's not coming out. While that search is on, with big groups of people wandering around, he's not coming out. And if he's hunkered down in a tiny spot, he might be really hard to find. And that's the thing that frightens me, because the longer he's tucked away, you know, I was looking at the temperatures, and, you know, we're heading into temperatures of heading up into the 30s now. So it's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Okay, now I'll just pull those ones away. I have a few different things here to bring up, and it's possible that I may not have put up what I needed. Okay. So while I talk, I'll bring this up. So I'm moving on to Mackenzie now. This is actually drone footage that was taken as part of the crash investigation. So they actually put a drone up and they flew the entire route from where she turned off Pearl and went along the road before the accident. So for anyone who's new to following Mackenzie's case, this is going back to 2022, and Mackenzie Shirilla was 17. She was a few days off her 18th birthday, and with her boyfriend and one of his friends in her vehicle, she decided to drive her vehicle into a building going 100 miles an hour without braking. There's a lot of weight being put on, you know, well, for the last 5 seconds, she had her foot on the accelerator at like full acceleration. And I think her family are trying to argue that, you know, well, that's only 5 seconds. But when you look at the street, when you look at the timing, now, if I was any good with, you know, mathematical formulas, then, you know, if you were to do a calculation of the time when she entered the street to the time when that vehicle hit the building, then given that she entered the street at a normal speed, a legal speed, she had to have been accelerating along that street. Like, it's not a situation of she just put her foot on the pedal for the last 5 seconds. The foot was already on the pedal 100%. So the thing that stood out to me, and this is why I wanted to show it, is how rough this road is. This, you know, her father's claiming, oh, this is a common, you know, shortcut kind of thing. I call BS on this, because it is a rough road. For her to have been going along this road at 100 miles an hour when it's that rough, that's determination. Welcome in, Ariel. Good to see you here. And not only that, it is dead straight until you get to the end. And you will see in a minute, there's actual really big, really visible traffic cones which show the beginning of the last 5 seconds. And you'll be able to see how much room there was to basically calculate that, hey, I'm going too fast. So this is those cones there. And this is like the last 5 seconds. So she covered a lot of ground in 5 seconds. It's rough, like doing 100 miles an hour over this sort of ground. Like, it's unfathomable to me. This is in no way an accident. Yeah. So self-absorbed. Exactly. I think it's just heartbreaking that clearly Dom tried to split up with her so many times, and she kept reeling him back in, and it must really hurt for his family just to know that, you know, he was washboard pavement. Yeah, exactly. You would know if you were driving over this at 100 miles an hour, you would know it. And you can see here where it actually curves. This is just before impact. I mean, it looks like a long way when you're looking at it in drone, from a drone. But this is just before impact. Oh, okay. These ones are the ones that I think are. I think they're the ones for the last. No, they can't be the last 5 seconds because that wouldn't be. The ones further back of the last 5 seconds, those ones, I believe, mark something. But, you know, you can see this is not a straight route at the end. And yet she stuck to that road like glue. And she had to have basically. You should see our Victorian roads at the moment. There's potholes everywhere. Someone posted a picture the other day on Facebook that essentially showed a pothole where they'd set up like a I mean, obviously it was done in AI, but they had a pothole and they'd set it up like a little resort with like you know, lounge chairs and umbrellas and stuff like that. And they're like, you know, prime real estate. And like, someone has basically said to people to start contacting, I think they said start contacting Victorian politicians or something and sending them pictures of every pothole that they come across. So, you know, it is very much the same thing here. It's, you know, crappy roads, money not being spent when it should be. Okay, I'm just trying to see what I've got. I'm just kind of clearing things at the same time because I put so many videos up. I'm just going to play the footage now that you've seen the trip, the actual view from the drone. I'm going to play the footage of the crash. And I'm going to pre-warn you, if you've not watched this, if you're watching with headphones, I would recommend taking the headphones off while you watch it. Because the first time I watched this with headphones on, hearing the crash in stereo in headphones was really confronting. And I think that's something that no one gets warned about because you do hear it. But I'm going to play that before I launch into. There's 2 things I've got queued up for today. One is it's an interview with Natalie and Steve, but there's a lot of kind of news story stuff in the middle. And I want to look at that. But then there's also a lengthy interview with Natalie. which I haven't watched, but I've queued it up because I'm curious. So I'll play this first, and like I said, if you're wearing headphones, I would recommend taking them off while you watch. Even muting, because I found it quite confronting. Yeah. When you dig into this, her parents enabled her so much, and they still are. Yeah, that footage when they called the police on her, and Steve Shirilla was not being nice, that's for sure. Okay, I'll put this up. And when you see it, you can see like she just so very casually turns into the street, like not breaking the law, not speeding, not anything like that, just doing the right thing. And then the next thing we see is okay, and I really should have taken my own advice, because trust me, when you get that through headphones, it's triggering. It really is. It's so disturbing. She did not slow down at all. And when you watch this after seeing the drone footage, it really does bring it home. She was doing 100 miles an hour. She did not take her foot off the accelerator. That accelerator was down 100%. There was no attempt to brake. That's who's that guy? That's the guy with the dreadlocks, is it? I love him. I love his channel. He's so good with his content. Yeah. I had seen it a few times before I was going through all the clips and everything. And when I was going through the clips, I was going through them on my MacBook. So I had my headphones on, because I just keep my MacBook set up now for studio. So my headphones are always permanently plugged in. And yeah, so confronting when you hear it like that. Okay, so
in July 2022.
Run that back a bit. So like I said, this is kind of mixed in with AG Tactical. That's it. Oh my gosh. Brilliant. The guy is pure legend. I love watching his Mackenzie Shirilla footage. I love anything he does. It's like Mackenzie Shirilla, and the low test Steve. So true. Bok. When he says black box. Yep. Oh, that's so classic. That's brilliant. I love it. You've got to joke about them. I mean, the parents are just, they're so tone deaf. They really are. Listening through all the phone calls, the way they victim blame, the way they make excuses, the way they blame the other families, like somehow they're responsible for Mackenzie being convicted. How is that even possible? Anyway, so this has got some news footage mixed in, so I'll just be, going past the news footage. But I did want to look at this brief bit of interview first before jumping into looking at Natalie. Because honestly, she's a very interesting individual.
Oh my God.
In July 2022, a day that brought a mix of pain,
I struggled with this because
relief, and guilt.
How can I feel bad that these two boys died and feel grief with these families and then be absolutely overjoyed that my kid is alive?
These people trigger me. Yes, same here. All I can see is chickens. Oh my gosh. The visuals that I have right now, if I could put them on the screen, seriously. Yeah. She had every intention for him to die in that crash. It seems like the only logical answer is that there was a fight in that vehicle. And poor Davion, he was going to go with his friend. He was like, I want to go home and have a shower first. There is no sense of concern here for the other victims from these two. Yeah, that is hella funny. Bok Bok and Mrs. Bok Bok. I'm sorry. I should be a bit more professional, but that's so classic. But then the words do not match the body language here. I'm just going to run it back just a smidgen. But he's trying to say, he's saying what he thinks he should say, essentially. Yes, he's so fake. He's talking the talk. But there is no sign whatsoever of any regret, any remorse. Natalie's doing that thing with her eyes where they're just going flat out left to right. Like, she's worried that she's going to be caught. Her thoughts are going to be heard or something. Neither of them are showing any concern here for Dom or Davion or their families.
Because how can I feel bad that these two boys died and feel grief with these families and then be absolutely overjoyed that my kid is alive?
It's been almost...
Doesn't give a rat's. That's not something that's coming from inside him. That's something that is coming from a place of, this is the expected thing to say, so I'm going to say it, but yeah, exactly. God forbid that you feel more than one feeling at a time. He really is. It's just acting. And she's not showing any remorse either. She's just going along with him like, yeah, this is what we should be feeling. It's so fake. If he said what he really was thinking, then what he was really thinking was, well, at least she survived because the others don't matter to me. That's what his body language was telling us. That's what his speech was telling us. And then the turtle shell thing with the shoulders, the shrugging it off because it's not important to him at all. Yeah. He's not good with his choice of words, that's for sure. Neither of them are. Oh, I know, exactly. Got to get the weather right. Fix the weather. How absolutely shocking.
3 years since the deadly crash in Strongsville that killed Mackenzie Shirilla's boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and their friend, Davion Flanagan. Now, Shirilla's parents are speaking out, insisting that the
Yeah, he's so arrogant. Oh, I just noticed the Mackenzie's innocent wristband. He is so arrogant. Any workplace that he was in, he would have been that person that you just wanted to avoid. Because he has to be right. He will gaslight. He will make up stories. And he's just beyond arrogant. He's no empathy whatsoever.
justice system got it wrong.
Show me one piece of evidence, one, that says she did this on purpose. Show.
Oh my gosh. He's like a broken record, isn't he? Like, and he does that thing with his hand. He's so aggressive over it. The thing is, you could slap them in the face with the evidence and they would still ignore it. He doesn't. It's that whole really aggressive arguing way of, I'm just going to bash you down with my argument until you accept it. Yep, innocent of not much. Yep, that would be pretty much it. He really gets my goat. This whole refusal to accept her innocence when there is evidence there in spades.
One that says she did this on purpose. Show it to me. Here it is. That's it. Then she's right where she belongs, and she's guilty of it. But there isn't any.
Steve Shirilla, you are more than welcome to join us on a live stream at some time and we can show you the evidence. In fact, Steve, all you have to do is watch any of the channels on YouTube that are covering this case. And they'll show you the evidence. Yeah, this was the first interview that they did. So it was a few years ago. But he was doing exactly that same thing in that more recent interview that he did. He's got the act perfected. He's such a tool. Like, he's making himself look like a complete tosser, because at the end of the day, the evidence is there for everyone to see. How many people have done FOIA requests and got all the documents, have got all the footage, all the interviews? What more evidence does he need? How does he explain the vehicle going 100 miles an hour with no let off on the accelerator, full acceleration? How does he explain the attempt by someone to throw that vehicle into neutral and the vehicle being put back into drive, and then immediately after that, someone grabbing the steering wheel and trying to reef it sideways to steer away from impact? I suspect that I suspect that she's got some trauma issues because she's not the golden child. I do worry about her. But I think I just think probably chalk and cheese with them, given the way that Natalie talks about her in some of those phone calls. I doubt very much that she's been given access to any sort of counselling. And it sounds like, she's not the special one in the family. I just hope that she's moved out by now and living somewhere else. You know, that's the hardest part with this. Just thinking what was going on in the car in those last 20 seconds even. Because you don't just put your foot on the accelerator and go from 35 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour like that. Like, it takes time to get up to full speed like that. So that panic of realizing the acceleration and whatever she was saying, and and Davion being trapped in all that. Like, did she even remember that he was in the car? Because that is the ultimate in selfishness. It wasn't that she just chose to take one life, it's that she chose to take 2 lives. Oh, yeah. He thinks he's all that, basically. He thinks people are going to believe him. And he seems to be loving having an audience. He really does. It's just sickening.
Prosecutors argued that she intentionally drove into a building without ever hitting the brakes, with black box data showing the car sped up to 100 miles an hour. They also argued that 2 weeks before the crash, Shirilla allegedly threatened to crash her car during an argument with Russo. The court cited it as proof of premeditation.
And she said, "Dominic, I'm going to crash this car."
But her parents maintain there's another explanation.
Oh, BS them and their other explanation. If he did not believe that she was going to crash that car, why would he have been ringing his mother and saying, you know, this is what's going on? Why would he get out of the car and have someone else pick him up? Like, seriously. I did that once when I was, I think, 18. I was in the car with a guy and he was showing off because he wanted to impress me. You know, typical teenage boys who think that they're going to impress a girl by doing dumbass things. And he was driving really dangerously and I made him pull over and I got out of his car. And I didn't have a mobile phone, obviously, because this was in the early days of mobile phones. And luckily it was in an area where I knew people and I just walked to a friend's place and was like, you know, I need to get home now. But it's not something that you do lightly, especially not out in the middle of nowhere where you then need someone to come and pick you up. Oh my gosh, we need a song for Low Test Steve. Honestly. We might have to do a bit of brainstorming at the end of this live stream. Try and come up with a song for Low Test Steve. Is it bad? I know some people get a bit offended by me making songs. But honestly, you got to find something to laugh about with these cases. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, you know, Mackenzie set the ball rolling with her hoping that, what's her face? Why is my brain not working right now? The celebrity, hoping that the celebrity would take on her case. You know who I mean, and my brain is just not giving up the name right now. Yeah, I think given that what we are seeing here is a situation with a entire family that are now trying to cash in on the case, I do think Dom and Davion's families should consider a joint civil case. Basically to make sure that Mackenzie's not getting rich off this, or her family. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do.
Team now arguing medical evidence the first trial missed, with a UH neurologist concluding that Shirilla suffered a medical episode at the time of the crash and a loss of consciousness, something prosecutors called speculative.
More than speculative. It's ridiculous. If you have a POTS event, you're not going to have your foot flat out on the accelerator still. You're not going to suddenly throw the vehicle back into gear when someone has pulled it out of gear. Yeah, exactly. Kim Kardashian, yeah. She wanted, in the jail calls, I can't remember the context of it, but something came up and Mackenzie was like, well, I hope Kim Kardashian sees it and maybe she will come to my defense. And Kim Kardashian, thanks for coming in, BTTB. Oh, go hunker down. Okay. You know, Kim Kardashian actually basically responded essentially with, you know, not my problem. Not in those terms, but brushed her off pretty much because, you know, what can you say? Yeah, Dom's sister is pushing that and I hope it comes through because this family is going to make bucket loads of money off this case now. They've got no conscience, any of them whatsoever. It's unbelievable.
Shirilla's latest court filing also includes text messages they claim flipped the narrative over who was threatening whom in the weeks before the crash, with texts from Russo purportedly saying, "I'm sorry."
There's no evidence what was going on.
Okay, well, yeah, that's how she works. How does that prove anything? They really are desperate in terms of their attempts to flip the narrative and convince people that she's innocent when there's no way at all.
In that car, other than the information they gleaned from the black box information.
This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
In the 2023 bench trial, the judge found Shirilla guilty of murder and sentenced her to 15 years to life.
And these poor families think she did it intentionally, and she didn't. And and they don't know. There's information they didn't see. There's information they didn't have. There's information we didn't see or have.
Note how she's trying really, really hard to work up some emotions and putting on the fake voice. She's trying so hard, but she cannot work up the emotions, and it just kind of goes out the window. Oh, this is cracking me up. Just seeing all these chooks or chickens in the... honestly, they've basically gone through Discovery and searched for random things that they can put their own interpretation on and try and claim that that proves she's innocent. But they're just these singular things with nothing to support what they're trying to argue. But she needs to not try the fake tears on camera because it's not convincing, not even close to being convincing.
Should she be in prison for murder?
No, absolutely not.
Should she be in prison for aggravated vehicular homicide?
I don't know about the aggravated part, because I don't think you can still say, well, I was going on the car. Should she have been charged with reckless vehicular homicide, 2 counts? Absolutely.
I don't think Natalie was happy with him over that. They're trying to... They're trying to minimise it for starters, but they're trying to give a little in terms of saying, well, you know, she did do the wrong thing, but not to the extent that she's being accused. It's still part of the gaslighting. It must be so painful for the other families, the level of gaslighting that these two are doing. Yep. this much publicity and Kardashian still says no. Yep, exactly. Gee, I wonder. Honestly, anyone just has to watch an interview with these parents and you would run a mile. It's...
Absolutely.
Not if it was medical.
Today, Mackenzie...
She's going to hang on to that medical thing for as much as she can. Now, I haven't finished listening to all the phone calls yet. But can we just acknowledge, when Mackenzie got her license prior to the crash, she never marked on there that there were any medical issues. When she renewed her license after the crash, she never marked on there that there were any medical issues. When she was doing one of the early phone calls with her mother, she claimed that she had this POTS event kind of thing. She's like, oh, I suddenly felt really, really dizzy. And she's like, and I got all shaky. And then something like she said, and I was having spasms. And I'm like, if you have a POTS event, yes, you might black out. But what you're trying to describe there sounds more like a petit mal or a grand mal, and you're still speaking normally. You're not acting differently after claiming you've just had this POTS event, that you claiming you've just had this very second. It was such a put on, and I've not heard any references in any other phone calls to any other events that she had. But the simple fact is, yeah, pothead, that's what it is. The simple fact is, she had her foot on that accelerator, full acceleration, did not lift it at all. Somebody knocked that car out of gear, trying to stop the speed, trying to stop the car, and the car got put back into gear straight away. And someone then grabbed the steering wheel and tried to turn it hard. And then the driver took control again. She was not blacked out.
Mackenzie Shirilla is now in an Ohio women's prison in Marysville, where her mom says they chat every day, whether by text from a tablet or by phone.
She does a lot of painting. She paints.
What kind of hopes, what kind of expectations do you have for Mackenzie's future?
That the truth will set her free. That's what I need to have happen. The truth, that there was no intent, that part, the truth will set her free.
Did you see the eyes while she's saying that? It was like ping pong. She's trying to say the truth will set her free. But it was full on ping pong. Her eyes were just going flat out, left, right, left, right. Because she's not going to try and get eye contact while she's saying that. I put out a YouTube short last week where Mackenzie was saying that she was like, oh, so I didn't know what to think, so I got this book and I opened it, and the first thing I saw was the truth will set you free, and they were like so excited over it, and I'm thinking, yeah, duh. What they're saying is that you will never get parole while you continue to deny what actually happened. But they interpret it as, oh, if we say she's innocent, that'll get her set free. They're morons. They need to stop and actually look at the hard evidence. And Mackenzie sat through the entire trial. She claims she can't remember, which is BS as well. But she sat through the whole trial. She can see the evidence that they have against her. And yet she's still trying to claim innocence. Like, yes, the truth might set you free. If you actually admit what you did, then maybe you will get parole in 15, 20 years' time. Exactly. While they continue to enable her, then she can forget about it. She's never getting out. Instead of putting all their energy into more appeals, into doing this public media tour, all this sort of crap, maybe they should put the energy into themselves, get some decent counselling so that they can start to come to terms with what she did, so that maybe they can help her to actually accept the consequences for what she did.
The Ohio Supreme Court has already rejected her appeal of the verdict, and earlier this month, the lower court rejected Shirilla's petition for a new trial, which is now under appeal. Now, we do want to note that Shirilla's father is a former WKYC employee, not in the news department.
Natalie Shirilla, thank you.
I'd love to know what he did with WKYC or whatever it was. That would be so fascinating. Like I said, that was an interview from a few years back, and we know that she's pretty much reached the end of the road with her appeals, although apparently after the latest rejection, they've put in a please, 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 just, will you reconsider kind of thing, which no law in it. She knows. I think on some level he knows, but he just is too arrogant to accept it. But when you listen to the way she says some things in the phone calls She knows it was intentional. Yeah. She knows that her daughter is a killer. That's why I think they should be focusing on themselves right now and getting help to come to terms with what their daughter did, rather than continuing to enable her, because none of them are helping each other. Yeah. Their arguments don't hold water at all. There's no logic for their arguments, and he is so aggressive with the way he argues. Yes. He worked here, but not in the newsroom. He's got nothing to do with us. That's disturbing, isn't it? Okay, so this is quite recent. This is Mackenzie Shirilla doing a interview on, and I wrote it down. This is one of the channels that's been doing quite a bit of stuff on the case as well. And, well, you know, let's just jump in.
Very much for taking the opportunity to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me just clear something up here, because you know how in this space, everybody's got a conspiracy theory. Just to be clear, when I was interviewing your husband,
I think, given that everyone seems to be in the same chat right now, I'm going to pull the comments off stage because it's distracting.
you were in the background paying attention. Just to be clear, you've always been invited. I didn't like box you out or just want your husband to speak for you or anything like that. Can you just assure people in the audience of that?
No, I knew that. I wasn't camera ready, so I wasn't sure if I didn't know if that was like his thing, or I knew that I could always come on, but I was not camera ready at all.
Okay, and I was muted then. Yeah, she needed to be camera ready. I wonder what not camera ready looks like. I can tell you what not camera ready looks like. I think you can all tell what my version of not camera ready looks like. Anyway, not going down that track. I think it was just a case of she probably hadn't prepared herself mentally for whatever stories she wanted to say. Yeah, denial isn't just a river in Egypt. It's apparently a whole lifestyle for these two. You are so correct. What does it mean? Yeah, she's got a purple filter on. This whole family is odd. I think that's the only way you could put it. They are an odd family.
People picked up on the fact that, look, you have an excellent grasp of what's going on. Obviously, emotionally, you're incredibly conflicted because this is your daughter. But I had a number of people say to me, oh, so she can't speak? Only the husband, only man to man? And that couldn't be less the case. So I am very happy to have you here and be giving you the opportunity, this platform. And what I think is really interesting here is that you believe that people have a fundamental misunderstanding, not just of how this case went, but who your daughter is.
So it's not just a misunderstanding, it's a fundamental misunderstanding, meaning that we're all a bunch of complete utter morons and we really don't get it. Like, we don't get it to the extreme level, like even just down to the very base of the matter. Like, honest to goodness.
Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let's start with the first one. How do they have who your daughter is wrong?
The best way I can describe it is like, would you want to be judged on one, your worst moments, two, challenges that you were dealing with in your life, you know, situations that you were trying to learn how to navigate at a super, super young age.
So this is not telling us who her daughter is. This is once again jumping to the defense. Geez, I'd love to hear from their neighbours. I bet they'd have things to say. Yeah. So he wants to know from her, well, who is the real Mackenzie Shirilla? And all she's doing is, well, people are just judging her on this one thing that they see. Well, yes, because it's pretty heinous what she did. And most 17-year-olds, no matter how crappy things are in their world, are not going to make a choice like what she did. Of course we're going to judge what they did at the worst moment was take 2 people's lives. But, you know, we shouldn't judge Mackenzie on that.
And not really sure how to do it or if you're even doing it right, maybe stumbling through things. No, you know, life is full of all kinds of challenges and everything. And you surround yourself with good people that can help you get through those things. And then hopefully you grow through those moments and figure out how to do better and be better next time.
Like, word salad. Yeah. She's not suggesting here that there's any culpability. She's making excuses for her daughter again. Oh, don't judge her because, you know, hopefully, you know, this is experience she'll learn from. Well, that doesn't help Dom's family or Davion's family. It doesn't bring back Dom or Davion. And the ridiculous thing here is that, you know, she's talking about, you know, having people to give you advice and guide you and everything. Well, if she hadn't been so busy wanting to be her daughter's friend and he had instead decided to be a parent, maybe her daughter wouldn't have turned out like that. I'll just run it back a little bit. Yeah. Oh, I know. Sometimes with people like this, there's no way you can have a poker face. I mean, you can just read it there. It's like, what the heck? You know, she's still going.
You surround yourself with good people that can help you get through those things. And then hopefully you grow through those moments and figure out how to do better and be better next time. But she was so, I'm going to cry again. She was so little that it's hard because she is like a young teenager who's going through, you know, teenage challenge stuff. And
she was so little. Okay. What blows my mind hearing her say that is that her and Mr. Bok Bok followed Mackenzie on TikTok. How can you try and infantilize your 17-year-old who is pretty much selling herself on TikTok? Yep. We should not forget this. She wanted the master bedroom, so they moved out and gave it to her. But what she's doing here is She's trying to infantilize Mackenzie, trying to make Mackenzie out to be a 6-year-old who's not capable of making the right decisions because she's too young. She's just this poor, fragile little girl. And we need to feel sorry for her. Like, oh my gosh. Your daughter was 17, living with her boyfriend. She was posting TikTok posts that, well, certainly don't make her look like an innocent little girl. There's nothing about Mackenzie that would make you think that she was this poor little innocent girl who, just made a little mistake.
That's how she's being judged against, and that's not who she is. You don't be judged on who you are based on the challenges that you're going through. So it's kind of unfair.
No, she wasn't being judged on the challenges she was going through. She was being judged on the way she dealt with the challenges she was going through. Show me a 17-year-old that doesn't go through challenges. It's that part of life when you're discovering who you are, when you're wanting to become independent. Every teenager at that age goes through challenges. They go through the battle to get independence, to find their identity. But the difference is not every teenager, not every 17-year-old teenager, just because they're going through challenges, drives their car into a wall at 100 miles an hour.
When you say challenges that you're going through, help us understand what that means.
So like situations at school, right, with other kids who are not kind.
Situations at school with other kids who were not kind. Has she not heard the many, many people who've come out and said Mackenzie was a bully at school? Mackenzie wanted to be the mean girl. So claiming that other kids at school were unkind. No, other kids at school were being bullied by your daughter. Yep, exactly. And again, you had mummy and daddy turning up to try and take control of the situation, to try and fix the situation, to make sure that Mackenzie didn't get into trouble over this girl falling down the stairs and could have actually died. But no, they just kept going. Oh, I forgot too, yeah. It wasn't just the kids. She was bullying teachers. But, let's go with she was being bullied. Poor little Kenzie.
Is that you're going through. Help us understand what that means.
So like situations at school, right, with other kids who are not kind, not kind to her or not kind to her friends or people she loves. She would always kind of insert herself into those situations to defend her friends, and rightfully so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, you nailed it. They are stupid idiots, seriously. So people were being unkind at school, so Mackenzie would insert herself into those. So now she's the defender of the... It was a nice stop, wasn't it? Oh, I shouldn't... You've got to laugh. You've got to, because... Wow, noisy truck, sorry. I mean, if you if you start to dwell on how horrendous this crime was, you would just go insane. But, she inserted herself because she's the defender. She's the... Get real. Like, get with the program, Natalie. Oh, my gosh. How can they be in this much denial? It's unreal. Utterly, utterly unreal. And it's not like this is straight after sentencing. They've had a few years to actually start to come to terms with this, and yet they're not. Oh, I know. Can't wear a hat. Can't wear a hat at work because, my hair's just been done. So what do? Just walk out and quit. Because it doesn't matter. Mummy and Daddy won't get upset with me for quitting a job because I just had my hair done. It's unreal. I mean, are they not aware of all the things that are being published that are evidence of what a nasty piece of work Mackenzie Shirilla is? Yep. Her and Dom got together when she was 14. Apparently they had no problem with it. And she was already moved in with him by 17. Unreal. Yeah, she wouldn't be able to work with those fingernails. Yeah, so mature. So mature. Like, oh my gosh. It's like Natalie has arrested development herself. It's like she is stuck in this teenage mindset. Or it's just that she idolizes her daughter so much that she's just got to adopt the teenage mindset. Because, God forbid, you wouldn't want to actually do any parenting.
I mean, we all want friends to do that for us, but then sometimes she would get in trouble for inserting herself into their situations and stuff. So we would kind of talk through those. And
okay, so the times that she got into trouble for bullying, now the version is that she inserted herself into situations to defend people. She wasn't bullying. She was just defending people. Like, total denial. I really, my heart breaks for her sister. She does seem to be living via her daughter. And when you listen to the phone calls, she was loving being in a friend's circle with Mackenzie's friends. This chat group that she had, she saw herself as one of the group of teenagers. I swear. When you listen to the way she talks about how she was talking to such and such about this and was like, well, just wait, and she's reveling, like having Mackenzie incarcerated has allowed her to become part of Mackenzie's friendship group to the point where she's communicating with them like they're her besties. Oh, yeah. I'm sure Dom felt defended. Exactly. Sorry, I was just turning around to see if the heater was on because it feels like it's getting colder in here. Um,
it's not that she's not right. It's just you got to follow the chain of command, the proper protocol to get things done. And
did she really say that? It's not like she's not right. So true, so true, so true. So true, good catch. Seriously. Your daughter has been bullying kids at school, and your take on it is she's stepped in to defend other kids. And, she's right, even if she did get into trouble for it. That is exactly the situation. Codependent, no boundaries, totally permissive. Natalie's reliving her teens through her daughter. It's unreal. I think they really do need to focus on getting some help for themselves so they can actually teach their daughter some real life lessons.
So she was just so little. She's just kind of learning how to be effective in those situations.
Again, she was just so little. She was 2 days off her 18th birthday. My gosh. That is not little. That is old enough to make serious decisions exactly like what she was doing. Oh, yeah. When you listen to them on the phone, it's so disturbing. No attempt whatsoever to try and teach her daughter just how to be a decent human, for starters. Yeah, the high school social scene is brutal, that's for sure. And Mackenzie was one of the ringleaders of the bullying. But Natalie doesn't see that. And I think that is the thing that ticks me off the most with these parents, is the refusal, the complete, utter, blind refusal to accept that there is anything wrong with their daughter, to accept that she did anything wrong. It's unreal.
The perception of her, which you say is a misperception, is basically informed by this take. You're half right. She was involved in a lot of stuff at school and a lot of drama, but she was the bully. She was the aggressor, and the school told you that. And that's why people are right to feel how they feel. What do you make of that?
How can they possibly know that, first of all? And then sometimes there are some teachers at the school who like her strength and they like her spirit. And
deflection. She was having full on twitches and full on meltdown then, because she wasn't expecting him to come back at her with that question. Yeah, I think she probably wasn't one of the really popular girls in high school. And I think, it's now about living through Mackenzie. So he's put it back on her that, well, what we've been told is Mackenzie was a bully. She doesn't know how to answer it. She's just having full-on conniptions over it. And then what does she do? She flips the script. Well, there's a lot of teachers who spoke really highly of her. Let's deflect. I can't really answer that in terms of the fact that she was bullying teachers. So I'm going to just swipe that off to the side and talk about the teachers who liked her. Seriously, the woman does my head in with the way she sees things. We've got to watch that whole conniption fit again.
And that's why people are right to feel how they feel. What do you make of that?
How can they possibly know that, first of all? And then sometimes there are some teachers at the school who like her strength and they like her spirit, and they try to cultivate that and help her, guide her through doing it and communicating effectively to get that way. There are some teachers that super didn't. There's a lot of teachers that
so see, that's how we explain it. The teachers that weren't trying to develop her strengths are clearly the ones that were claiming that she was bullying. So it's all about the teachers just didn't know how to help her to harness her strengths and her abilities. That's the biggest thing at the base of this. I think they won't admit it, but I think the biggest thing that they are defending here is not so much their daughter, but their parenting skills. Because at the end of the day, they created her with the enabling, with the ignoring her behaviours and things like that. And that is why they are going to continue to fight so hard. They are not fighting this hard for Mackenzie. They are fighting this hard for themselves. Because it would be pretty confronting to realise that your parenting, your enabling of your child, that you got your child to a point because you didn't teach them consequences, because you enabled them so much. It would be so confronting to have that realisation that because of how you parented this child, they took the life of 2 other people. Oh, hell yeah. That's clearly something that's been written in a report, in a school report, someone being like, well, you have to write it in a positive way. You can guarantee if you see that in a school report, strong-willed, independent, highly creative. Strong-willed means they don't actually listen to anything they're told to do. They do what they like. Highly creative, they have ways of talking out of things, which she seems to get from her parents.
Don't appreciate the strength in a child or a younger teenager, and they just want them to kind of fall in line. But there are some teachers that appreciated it. So it just really depends on who you're talking to.
Yep, let's gaslight the teachers. It's about these teachers who just, they just want the children to fall in line. They don't want them to learn to be independent. They don't want them to come back and be abusive towards them, because hell, you wouldn't want that, would you? Like, serious deflection here. All she's doing is making excuses, deflecting, not giving an inch, not admitting, yeah, okay, she probably should have been better behaved at school, or yeah, she was a bit of a bully. Yeah. when you remove all boundaries and consequences. And here's the thing. When you do that, you're creating a child with actually low self-confidence because they've not learned regulation. And because you're essentially telling them that you don't care enough about them to actually create those boundaries. Mackenzie was wild because she didn't have that sense of belonging. The anxiety and stuff that is caused for a kid who hasn't been given boundaries. Do you want to have a well-adjusted kid who grows up to be a successful, well-adjusted adult? You give them boundaries because that gives them confidence in themselves. That makes them feel safe. If you don't give a child boundaries, they do not feel safe. Yeah, poor Kenz. Nobody understood Kenzie. So sad. Those teachers just didn't understand her at all. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I could imagine in terms of Natalie in high school, she wasn't one of the cool kids, but I can bet she was one of the kids that ran around after the cool kids, hoping that they would notice her, hoping that they would accept her into her group. And she probably looked at all those TikToks that Mackenzie was putting out and was thinking, you know, oh, she's got there. She's got what I didn't get. And she's still defending her daughter.
If you're talking to a friend that she was sticking up for, then she may be a bully to the other person. It just depends on who you're talking to.
I understand.
Yep, depends on who you're talking to. So if someone's in a group, the bully group, then she's not a bully. She's just standing up for people. But if you're the person on the receiving end, you don't know what you're talking about. Yep. That's crazy, isn't it? That he's a teacher. He trash talked his daughter. Welcome in, Summer Breeze. Good to see you here. But not only that, you would expect as a teacher that he would see children like Mackenzie whose parents don't take any responsibility for their behaviours or anything like that. And that he would think, wow, you know, that's our daughter. We need to do something. But they've both got their head in the sand. Unreal.
Right now I'm talking to her mom. And what I want to make sure is that you know where I'm coming from on this. I'm a pretty open and transparent person in terms of how I practice my journalism. There are a lot of things out there that you say are wrong, and I want to give you the opportunity to address them. So I'm not here to judge you or your answers. As we all know, there are plenty of people who are ready and willing to do that. But I want to make sure that our understanding of this situation benefits from the full complement of perspectives.
Sure.
And what I learned in covering this case and looking at it was, until I spoke to your husband, as informed by your perspective in the background, I had no idea how at odds with the attorney and their strategy you had been. So that's where I'm coming from, that I just want to understand all pieces of this to understand how we got here. So the next piece of perspective on it is, well, we got here because Mackenzie Shirilla wasn't just a kid experimenting with drugs. This was a heavy-duty, hard-hitter, wild child. And she, whether that was how she conducted her relationship and how she felt about Dom and how she felt about life and death, this was an extreme personality type who was open to reckless behavior, and that's how we got here. Fair assessment.
Wow, he pulled out the heavy guns, didn't he? She would not have liked to have heard that, but he nailed it completely. He had Mackenzie nailed to a T there. Summer Breeze, I should probably mention you're in the vertical chat, and it seems like everyone else is in the horizontal chat right now. So people can't actually see you, but that's why I'm putting your comments up. But if you're wondering where everyone is, they're in the other chat. Yeah, they probably do think highly of themselves. And when you listen to them, there is this sense of them being better than everyone. If you click on the icon that's got a picture, my channel thing, that's the channel logo, if you click on that, it'll take you to my homepage, and then you should be able to see the other live stream and click on that and go in. Normally I post the link for the horizontal in the vertical chat before I start, but I'm not sure that I got around to that, or it's also possible that when BTTV was in there that the chat might have gone, that might be out, like not accessible now. But try that. I'll put the comments back on stage though as well, so people can see that. Yep. It should take you to the home page, and you should see the two live streams side by side. And then it should, I hope, have the vertical one. The vertical one should have a picture of a phone in it. And then you click on the other one that doesn't. Also, usually if you look for the one with the most views, that's usually the one to jump into, but can't guarantee if that's the case, because I know a lot of people did jump into the vertical at first. Ha! Yeah, you're in. You've joined us. Yay. Okay, well, I'll pull them off screen now because then we can watch Natalie's face.
Oh my goodness. No. Let me tell you who Mackenzie is. She loves her family.
Yeah. All these posts with Mackenzie driving with weed, all these posts where there were posts where she was making comments that were outright bullying. And Natalie apparently liked all those posts. It's unreal. She really was just living through her daughter.
She loves her friends fiercely. She's an adventurer. She's the friend that you have who will wake up in the morning and wants to seize the day. Like, let's go kayaking, let's go roller skating. It's pretty outside. Let's go hiking. Let's do whatever. She likes to go take pictures. That's, wherever abandoned buildings like they do, the kids go to all these abandoned buildings, take pictures.
Notice everything she's saying here is describing a narcissist. There's nothing here that is giving any idea of Mackenzie as being a nice person. She's living life to the fullest. She wants to go places. Yeah, she wants to go places with Rosie and do photo shoots. Because, so narcissistic that she wants to put her image out as much as possible and get that bit of notice from a modeling company. Nothing here that suggests that she has the sort of personality you'd want your kids hanging out with.
She's not reckless, and I know in some of the photos.
She nearly choked on that. The nodding the head, I think that was more a case of trying to push the word out of the mouth than anything else. It's like she's not reckless because her brain's going, stop, don't lie. Even she can't get the words out. Her brain's just going, you're not going to say that. That's just BS. Don't say that. And she pushes through and spits it out. I'll just play that again. Watch the conniption that she's having. It's this whole body reaction with her trying to force the word out. Oh yeah, they do. They sidestep and they completely not just understate, but they're essentially denying all her misbehaving. It's all someone else's fault, or it didn't happen. This is unreal.
Go to all these abandoned buildings and take pictures. She's not reckless, and I know in some of the photos it does appear that way. But I mean, I've done things as a child that my parents probably wouldn't approve of.
Yep, let's just explain it away like that. I've done things as a child that my parents wouldn't approve of. Yep, and that's where parents step in and set boundaries and teach children how to be responsible. Yes, I did dumbass things as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old. I mean, how many of us, when we first got our license, did really dumb things on the road because we thought, we thought we were invincible. But this is not a teenager just doing dumb teenage things. This goes way beyond that.
I hung around with some friends I probably shouldn't have. Did it mean I was reckless? No. It just means I was a teenager trying to figure life out. So she's not reckless or like a wild child. She was fun. She was vibrant, adventurous.
Not reckless and not a wild child. So the videos of her driving while smoking a joint, not reckless. Oh, exactly. Yep, roll those eyes. That's for sure. That's the difference, the messing around and doing dumb things. I mean, some of the stories that I could give you of the dumbass things I did as a teenager, but none of them were hurting anyone. I mean, the only things that I look back on and think, I wish I hadn't have done that because it could have hurt people, is, when you just got your license and you're on the highway and you think you can go really, really fast because, you've just got your license and you think you know everything. That sort of thing, I think, wow, that could have been potentially dangerous for other people. But, the dumbass things like going into a multi-level car park at night. Not that I'd do any of this, but, like going into a multi-level car park at night with rollerblades and rollerblading down all the ramps, or riding trolleys down the ramps or stuff like that teenagers do that, totally harmless. And that's just something that just randomly popped in my head, by the way. I would never have done anything like that as a teenager because I was perfect.
It was fun.
What do people have? Look, I know this is hard.
Hang on, what was fun? Oh, yeah. When you're a teenager with ADHD, the dumbass things that come into your mind to do, I won't go down that track, but no, I will share this one because this is the ultimate in stupidity. You know those little things in playgrounds that have the things that you put little kids on, and they're on massive springs, really heavy duty springs, and the kids get on them and they bounce up and down. Never try and launch yourself off one of them. Anyway, moving on.
My parents probably wouldn't have approved of. I hung around with some friends I probably shouldn't have. Did it mean I was reckless? No. It just means I was a teenager trying to figure life out. So she's not reckless or like a wild child. She was fun. She was vibrant, adventurous. She was fun.
What do people?
She was fun. She was vibrant. She was adventurous. And then she was like, she was fun. Oh my gosh, seriously. We know the sort of things that Mackenzie was getting up to. Maybe it was fun for Mackenzie, but for a parent to be describing that dumbass stuff as fun, there's your problem. Yeah, we lived on a busy main road, so we weren't allowed to have push bikes. We had roller skates and we were allowed to use them at the local school. Never had a skateboard. I had a friend sort of further up in a quieter area who tried to teach me how to ride a bike, tried to teach me how to ride a skateboard, both of which ended in disaster. So I actually cannot ride a push bike because we weren't allowed to have one as kids because of where we lived and how dangerous it would have been. But, you know, when I look back and consider for a child with ADHD, it's probably a damn good thing because it just probably wouldn't have ended well. Yep, definitely a job resume for a murderer. Honestly, the denial from this woman. She's looking at Mackenzie's behaviour and she's basically giving it the okay. And this is not normal teenage behaviour, any of, like, yep, let's just say it's okay for a teenager to record themselves while they accelerate up to, I think, at 90 miles an hour in their car. There's a video of her flaunting it where she's videoing the speedometer on her car as it goes up to 90 miles an hour. There's all these photos and videos of her driving while she's getting stoned. And Natalie says, well, she was fun. My gosh. And we didn't, the roller rink near us was like too far away for us to go to. So, yeah, we only ever like roller skated at the local school. We had an ice skating rink that, again, was a little ways out, but I used to love ice skating.
People have, look, I know this is hard for you, and I know you keep catching yourself talking about her in the past tense, and that triggers this paroxysm of pain for you because your daughter's not dead, but the life she had is no more. And I get how hard that is for you. And I sympathize with you on that, and I understand it.
Well, part of me is not crying just because of that, okay? A part of me is just crying because her friends, people that actually know who we are, know the truth. They know who she is, and the image that has been painted of her through storytelling, all this other things. It's not wholly accurate.
Yeah, the ice skating roller rinks that we had, there were only 2 like in the whole area, and they were only open through the day. So we never would have been able to do that. But as teens, if we'd have been out drinking or clubbing or something and we weren't ready to go home, then, you know, car parks, multi-story car parks especially, were where we would end up. Yeah. She's in complete denial. Or trying to be. I think you've got 2 sides to this woman. One side who knows exactly what her daughter's like, and the other side that's going to protest as long as she can to the entire world that her daughter is like totally fine. She's just a fun kid, just playing, just doing her thing. I will give it to him. He's throwing the hard questions without being an arsehole, which really takes a lot of skill. Because you get some people who throw the hard questions and it comes across as being really accusatory, comes across as being just a real arsehole, basically. At least he is, you know, at least showing an understanding that she's still a human being. I don't think I could take up ice skating again. I would probably break a neck. Multi-story car parks are great because you get those ramps that go down, and if you get a run, you can just go from one ramp to the next. Yeah, still defending her. Yeah. It says something about their marriage that they're still together. Because you definitely get the vibes of Natalie wanted to be Mackenzie's best friend. And I think you've got Steve, who is like, you know, the protective daddy. But at the same time, he certainly wasn't thinking much of his daughter's behaviours. Sorry, just swinging around and having a look. Amira's in her bed and she's lying there with her tongue sticking out, fast asleep. Crazy dogs. I'm going to keep going with this for now.
But it's unfortunate.
So part of that is the relationship with Dom. Mm-hmm. How did you see that? How did you see what are seen as radical ups and downs?
Oh, this is going to like super make me cry. But one of my favorite things to do with Mackenzie and Dom was talk to them about their relationship. We spent a lot of time together.
Deflection. Yeah, a lot of deflection. And she's doing it again here. He's asking about the relationship with Dom, which was explosive. And what's she doing? Oh, well, we like to talk about the relationship. Like, I'm their relationship coach. Well, at the base of the matter here is your daughter was too young to be in the sort of relationship where she was living with this boy, especially because she was trying so hard to control him. And you okayed that.
Doing everything. We went on vacation together. We where there was one, the other was there too. So, they were together for 4 years. And they were together the 4 years in a real pivotal time of their age where they were trying to figure life out and who they were. And actually, I'm going to show you a text message that I sent to Dom. We were very, very, very close. And one of my favorite things to do was help them navigate through their relationship. And they knew that they can both come to me for anything if they were struggling with stuff. Hi, I tried to call you. You don't have to call me back. I was just thinking about you guys. One of my favorite things to do is watch you guys grow and navigate through your problems together. They're not always fun and it's not always easy, but the point is that you guys grow a little more each time and learn a little bit more about yourselves and each other. I love you guys. Anyway, that was all. And then he said, nice to think you're always thinking about us and here for us and here for me. I love you. Love you too.
Yeah. Honestly, it's true. The different masks that they wear. You're so right about that. So what she's done here, he's asked her about this toxic relationship, and you can't look at it any other way. It is a toxic relationship that Mackenzie and Dom were in. It was explosive. And her response is to completely ignore that and instead come out with the, look at me, I was their friend too. We did all these things together. Yep. What are your hobbies? I'm my daughter's third wheel. Because that's how it comes across. It's like, hey, girlfriend, I'm just going to come and hang with you and your boyfriend right now. And let me give you some relationship advice. So true. Now, there's no way after, 2 years, that she's not seen the things that have been shown in terms of the relationship between Mackenzie and Dom, even if she was utterly oblivious to it beforehand. But seeing this message here shows us that she saw that their relationship was not good. I'm going to presume that this is probably after one of those times when Dominic contacted her and said, come and get Mackenzie. When Dominic was throwing Mackenzie out of the house and contacted Natalie and said, come and get her. And so Natalie was helping to smooth the way for Mackenzie afterwards. Yeah. So many things they should have done and they didn't. It wasn't helping Mackenzie or Dom to continue to enable a relationship like that. But I think they were so in love with the idea of their daughter dating someone who was throwing money at her. Someone who they thought was going to make a lot of money and keep their daughter in a really nice life where she got indulged in anything she wanted. I don't think they really cared about Dominic. They cared about the appearance, and they cared about the potential for essentially him keeping Mackenzie never having to work or go to school or anything, because they liked the idea that he was good with money, that he was driven to succeed. Oh, heck yeah. They all needed psychiatrists. They're just nutters, absolute nutters.
Thank you. And then I said, always.
Understanding relationships, and obviously they're not adults, they're kids. I mean, he's an adult technically, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Did you believe at the time that the vagaries of their relationship, the drama, was within the realm of normal, or did you see it as a toxic relationship?
No, I didn't see it as a toxic relationship because...
I'm just going to pause there because I'm going to put money on this turning around and being gaslighting of Dom. She's once again constructing the narrative as she goes. She doesn't want to admit that it was a toxic relationship. And now she's got to find a way to put it all back on Dom. Bet you any money. Yeah. Such a solid foundation. Parenting 101. Honestly, Natalie and Steve should write a book on how to parent your teenager. Bestseller. The hard thing was, I think, the thing that must be so crushing for Dom's family was that he was trying to get out. He was realizing that the relationship was not good. And he was doing his best to get out of that relationship. And for his mother, like, I will never show the video of her reaction when they told her. But to know that your son was stuck in this toxic relationship that he kept trying to get out of and have it end this way, I can't imagine the pain they must feel. Yep, parenting for dummies, that's the one. That's what they could do. They could make a mint on it.
We did spend so much time together every single day. He was either sleeping here, she was sleeping there. He would come over and make dinner. They made homemade pasta and steaks. So there was none of that. Like, I knew that she was going to be, that he was going to take care of her, like keep her safe, and like he was very protective of her. Mm. And then I also knew that she was protecting him.
Notice the way she says that. I knew he was going to be protective of her. In other words, she knew he was going to keep her in the way that Natalie felt that Mackenzie should be kept. Spending lots of money on her, making sure she didn't have to work, giving her everything she needs. And then when she talks about Mackenzie, she protected Dom. This is coming straight towards, now this is when she brings up all the things that Dom could have gotten into trouble for, but Mackenzie protected him, made sure that he didn't get caught. I bet you any money on this. It's like, well, you know, one-sided relationship because Dom was the bad person and Mackenzie protected him. That's the thing. what Dom and Davion's families have gone through since is wrong. And they seem to have forgotten that these families have lost to young men who could have had a huge, huge thing to, like, they could have made a difference in the world. Davion was so, he was full of empathy. He could have, had he not had an injury, he could have been going ahead and being a successful sports person. But that got ended for him because of an injury. But he had a plan. Yeah, he was probably hanging out with the wrong people, but he was the sort of kid that would have landed on his feet, would have gone out and got his apprenticeship as a hairdresser, probably would have ended up with a highly successful salon. Like, the sky's the limit. And Dom, it sounds like he was very driven in terms of being an entrepreneur, in terms of they were both going to be a huge success. Do you know what the hardest thing for me? Listening to those jail phone calls where Mackenzie was harassing Dom's brother because she wanted him to put photos of her and Dom in Dom's casket. And she was pissed off because she wasn't getting any response from them. Like, read the room, people.
There was none of that. Like, I knew that she was going to be, that he was going to take care of her, like, keep her safe, and like, he was very protective of her. And then I also knew that she was protecting him. So in person, I don't think, I know it sounds toxic in the text messages, but there's no context for those. That's not who they were. And one of the things I always...
Well, maybe there's no context for the text messages. It still sounds toxic. But I tell you what, there's some interesting videos that show you just how toxic it was. That when Dom's wanting to go to dinner at his grandmother's house, and she's like, I'm going to key your car if you don't let me in, and oh my gosh. Well, that's the thing. Dom was ready to move on and get on with life. He didn't need that kind of teenager immaturity holding him back. He was ready to start doing the adulting thing.
Tell people is who Dom looks like on paper. Is not who he was to me. So what they look like on paper, it's not who they were. It's just not who they were. They were very close. They loved each other fiercely. They were very cute together. They took care of each other. They wore matching outfits.
She makes my blood boil. No, Mackenzie cannot take rejection, that's for sure. She must have seen the evidence of what their relationship was like. She's in complete denial. Yeah. But here's the other thing too, while she's putting on these tears, Yeah, Daniel Martel crying. That's for sure. She's putting on the tears here in this interview, but you listen other times to the amount of gaslighting she does, the amount of basically turning Dom into the villain. Now, obviously, she's gauged this guy when she's doing this interview and gone, this is not going to go down well if I try to victim blame here. But her and Steve Shirilla have done so much victim blaming that this just makes me wild seeing her do this.
They timed their day around each other. They made sure that they had each other's food. He cared about her health, and he...
Oops, we forgot to keep crying. We did the crying act, forgot about it. Now we're just going to keep going.
Was trying to work on her. She has POTS, so he was trying to figure out her POTS and her diet and stuff. So they were very cute together.
They were very cute together, so that means they weren't toxic. Yeah, just so, you know, they had a good relationship because they wore matching outfits. Okay. I look at my friends who have been married for 20-something years, and they have a really good, strong relationship, and I don't think I've ever seen them wear matching outfits. Yeah, they so have selective memory. Totally.
There's no context in those text messages. That was just them trying to figure out how to work through these situations that they had building up, but that's not who they were. I know it's what it looks like, but that's not who they were.
Oh my God.
In July
Seriously? Oh, whoops. Did I just end that? Whoops. Crap. Was that all there was? Hang on. Honestly, yeah, she probably did. He says, I'm breaking up with you. She's like, you know how much I love and care about you, and I get this. I was just trying to make you happy and feel better. It's all seriously attempting to control him here. Unreal. I mean, yes, I can see here a young girl with serious issues in terms of her own self-perception, because her parents never gave her the boundaries, never taught her how to truly love or respect herself. Definitely she's got issues with attachment, because of course when your parents don't give you boundaries, that's still neglect. So she's afraid of losing any sort of attachments. So there's a lot of underlying psychological issues here that really, really made it a bad relationship. And I feel so sad now for her that she couldn't get a single photo of Dom dressed for prom. Because, you know, that's an opportunity that is gone. And who wants prom photos of your son who's gone that include the girlfriend that killed him? Yep. And when children aren't brought up with good morals, when they're not brought up with boundaries, they do form attachment issues. Because They don't know how to have healthy relationships. They don't know what boundaries even look like. It's a sad situation. It's an infuriating situation. And, you know, look at the number of cases where we see this. Stephen Stearns, again. Deb Stearns enabled him his whole life. And look where that ended up. Yep. Exactly. Early childhood is so crucial for forming identity. And if a child has uncertainty in those formative years, if they're not given boundaries, if they're not taught right from wrong because they have no boundaries, that is going to form the person that they become. It's going to lead to someone with low self-esteem. It's going to almost certainly lead to someone with some narcissistic tendencies. But it's certainly going to lead to someone with no idea of consequences. Someone who doesn't know how to form healthy relationships because they've never learned about boundaries in relationships. It's parents who think that they are being their child's friend because that's going to raise their child to be something unique. Those parents are raising their children to turn out like Stephen Stearns, like Mackenzie Shirilla, like Ethan Crumbley. Like, I could give you a really long list. And the worst part is that these parents still cannot see what they've created. She's still the golden child, the perfect golden child. Anyway, I've been on here for 2.5 hours and I'm suddenly hungry. And I do think that my heating might have actually turned off at some point, like my main heating, because it has gotten really cold in here. So I need to hop off. I don't have an outro. I do have one that I've created for Dominic and Davion, but I haven't got it set up to go into StreamYard. So there won't be an outro. Yeah, no consequences is always a recipe for disaster. It truly is. Anyway, thanks for coming in. I very much appreciate people coming in and giving me their time. I know there's plenty of options for live streams this time of day. So the fact that you chose to come in here and listen to me yabbering on is something I very much appreciate. Please hit the like button on your way out. If you're new in here, please subscribe. If you're on replay, please leave a comment. Now, I should say for everyone here who follows Lilly and Jack, I'm still on it, but I did want to just start doing a bit more Mackenzie content. I just sort of feel that this is the direction that I'm wanting to go in at this point in time, but there will still be plenty of Lilly and Jack content coming out. Okay, thanks, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.